بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. So inshallah we're moving on to the last discussion of the sama'i af'al. So you have the fa'al, so if you go over here, we have our babul awwal. So we have the maqsid. The first maqsid is regarding the amil, and in there the first bab is regarding the fa'al. So you have the fa'al al-amil, and then you have fa'al al-qiyasi, and then we have fa'al sama'i on opposite side. In fa'al al-qiyasi, we then fa'al al-lazim and fa'al al-muta'addi. In fa'al muta'addi, we discussed which one has one maf'ul, those which have two maf'uls, and those which have three maf'uls. Those which have two maf'uls, it can be that they're not mubtada, khabar, and asal, a normal maf'ul, a normal ditransitive verb, two maf'uls. Or they can have the asal, mubtada, and the khabar. In that case, you will call it fa'al qalb or fa'al tahweel. And if it has three maf'uls, it will always be fa'al qalb or fa'al tahweel. We covered that as the qiyasi verbs. Then we covered the sama'i verbs. In the sama'i verbs, you have al-fa'lu naqis and al-kana wa khawatuha. That's the list of them. Then the way to remember it is, you hope for an action, afalu raja. You come close to an action, afalu muqaraba. And then you start an action, afalu shuru'. And then we went on to the fa'al madhi, afalu madhi wa dham. And now we're moving on to the last section here, صيغتا التعجب. Now we say صيغتا التعجب because they aren't actually, I'll explain it inshallah shortly. Okay? So al-qismu thalithu صيغتا التعجب. صيغتا, this is the dual form. This is the dual form of صيغة. The two صيغas of ta'ajjub. Now, the reason we call this صيغة is because it's not a particular verb. For example, ni'ma, that's a particular verb. bi'sa, sa'a, kana, sara, asbaha, kada. Those are verbs. Now, this ta'ajjub has two صيغas. You can put any root letters on this صيغة. That's why it's not the verb itself. So for example, the صيغة we have here, al-ula, the first صيغة, it's not always ula because صيغة is mu'annas. So the first صيغة, the first form is ma af'alahu. So you have here ma, that's one word, istifham. Af'ala is what? That's what? The al-ghaib min bab if'al. So min bab if'al, you have the ghaib ma af'al, and who is a maf'ulun bihi. So for example, now here, it's not particular, it's not only, we're not saying only the word ajmala can come. Any word can come. You can get jamala, jamil, nasara, sami'a, hasiba. Any verb, you put it on the pattern of af'alahu. Take it to bab if'al, put a ma istifham before it and a hu maf'ul bihi after it. It gives you the pattern of ta'ajjub. Wow, amazing. So ma ajmal al-Quran. So basically, a simple way of saying, al-Quranu jamilun. The Quran is beautiful. Al-Quranu jamilun. The Quran is beautiful. Correct? And it's a ma ajmal al-Quran. Wow. Quran is amazing. Wow. So it has a ta'ajjub aspect to it. Okay? So that's this Quran jamil is basic, very simple language. And ma ajmal al-Quran, that becomes what? That's called one of the sigha of ta'ajjub. Okay? Al-thaniya is af'il bihi. The second sigha is ajmil bil-Quran. You say af'il, you take bab if'al. It's also bab if'al, but it's not the madi. This is al-madi. This is now what? Al-amr. Now, it just has to be this sigha. Why? That's how it is. And it wouldn't even change to muthanna, jama', or it'll be af'il. Nahu ajmil bil-Quran. Same meaning. Wow, Quran is amazing. So you put the pattern ma af'alahu, you take the three root letters, you take it to bab if'al, and either you make it fa'il madi with ma before it and a maf'ul bihi after it, or bab if'al, the amr, with a bihi, af'il bihi, ajmil bil-Quran. And those sigha, those forms, what did they show you? They show you ta'ajjud, they show you amazement, they show you wow. Yes? Everybody understand this? Okay, so let's try a few examples here. If we have the word sidqun and rasul, instead of simply saying ar-rasulu sadiqun, what is this? A simple jumla ismiya. The messenger is truthful, full stop. But you want to say, wow, you're so truthful, amazing. Like you want to show, like you're amazed at how truthful he was. Now what can you do here? We can take it, what can we say here? We can say what? Who can tell me? What one pattern we will use? We would say Ma asdaqar rasul. That's a mistake here. Ma asdaqar rasulah. Yes, ma asdaqar rasulah. Or we can also say what? Asdiq bir rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So now what we do? We take the root letters, sad, dal, qaf, and you place it in the pattern of bab if'al, madi, or bab if'al, amr. And in this case, you have a ma before it. And what's a ma? We'll do it in i'rab, inshallah. And this is maf'ul, this is a mistake, sorry. Yes? Are you following me? Understood? Look here, we have asmi bihim wa absir. Now we have another example here. Look, it's from the Quran, not what the meaning, but what do you see here? Asmi bihim. Asmi bihim. So what pattern is this? It's the second pattern. So you have the root letters, sami'a, from the bab of if'al, the amr, and bihim. Meaning on the day of Qiyamah, asmi bihim. They will be able to hear so much. In the dunya, they don't hear the Quran. They hear, they listen to it, but they don't give it a space. So on the day of Qiyamah, asmi bihim. Now obviously, what do you think is happening to the bihim here? Using your logic that we done from the makhsus bil makhsus in fi'l mad wa dham. Because the context shows us what it is, you don't need to repeat it. It's not repeated here. So in Surah Kahf, asmi bihim wa absir. So these are both صيغتا التعجب. Both of these are ta'ajjub sighas. Wow, they're so, on the day of Qiyamah, they will hear everything. Everything will become clear to them. Absir, they will see everything. Everything they're confused about, they will see it. Another example, you could probably do this. It says here, أولئك الذين اشتروا الضلالة بالهدى. These are the people who purchased misguidance in exchange for guidance. Meaning, they chose misguidance in exchange for guidance. And they chose to receive a punishment instead of receiving forgiveness. Okay? That's the beginning part. Now what do you have here? Fa is a harf al-atf. What do you have? Ma asbarahum. So now you have here, fi'l ta'ajjub. Ma asbarahum. So ma is a ma that comes before it. Asbara is basically taking the word sabara to bab if'al, and that hum is the maf'ulun bihi. You understand? So there's two examples where it comes in the Quran. Don't worry about it's not gonna, if you don't understand the full verse, if you later on you get used to it. But it's an example of how it's been used. Understood? Everybody understand? Everybody following? Okay, now moving on to the I'rab. How do you do the I'rab of this? So what's this ma? What's the him? So how do you do the I'rab of this? So ma ajmal al-Quran. So this ma is what? Ismu istifham. So basically, when we say ma ajmal al-Quran, basically what made the Quran. So jameel is to be beautiful. Ajmala to make beautiful. Kareem to be noble. Akrama to make noble. Darab, sami'a to hear. Asma'a to make somebody hear. So bab if'al, it gives the meaning of muta'addi. It makes it like transitive. So really, when you have the sigha, it means what made the maf'ul bihi so root letters. So what made the Quran so jameel? What made them so sabir? What made them so basir? What made him so nasir? What made him so, you get the idea? So this ma is really istifham, what? So it's mubtada'un, what's it going to be? Mubtada'un, then marfu'un, mahallan, because obviously i'rab is mahalli, because it's a harf. So the first word is mubtada. That's ism istifham, mubtada'un marfu'un mahallan. Then the ajmala, what's ajmala going to be? Is going to be فعل ماض, but what is it going to, what are we going to say after it? فعل ماض للتعجب, and then مبني على الفتح مبني على الفتح باب إفعال, and then هو زمير مستتر, then هو زمير مستتر فاعل مرفوع محلا. And the Quran, what's Quran become? Al-Quran become? It becomes the maf'ulun bihi. Becomes maf'ulun bihi mansubun bil fath. And then this jumla, this is one jumla. Ma mubtada ajmal al-Qur'ana becomes the khabar. So ma is a mubtada and the jumla ajmal al-Qur'an. What's this going to become now? Khabarun marfu'un muhallan. Understood? So the main thing here that we have to learn is that this ma is what kind of ma is this? The ma that comes in the sigha of ta'ajjub is what? What is it? Istifham. And that becomes the mubtada. And what comes at the end, the jumla that comes at the end, what is that going to become? That becomes the khabar. Okay? That's a main structure of the tarkib. Understood? Okay? And the next one, what happens here? Ajmil. What's ajmil going to be? فعل أمر. So فعل أمر للتعجب. Okay? فعل أمر للتعجب. And فعل أمر fi'l amr, it looks like a majzoom. So, and that's why some scholars have said that it is majzoom, the fi'l amr. That's the Kufi scholars, the Kufi school. The people of Kufa, the ulama of Kufa and Nahw, they used to say it's majzoom. But the ulama of Basra, I mean, it goes with technical why and all that. The ulama of Basra, another place, they say it's mabni ala, it's mabni with wherever the jazm is. And everybody uses the Basri school. But in our Arabic book, we use the Kufi school because it's very easy to understand. But now because we're doing Arabic in the classical way now, we're not doing it as a proper, we're doing it properly. So we're going to use what the standard is, even though that's also correct, but the standard in books is, they would make the fi'l amr mabni. We say it's majzoom, they say it's mabni. But it's mabni with the alama of majzoom. So it's mabni with a sukun. When you have ajmila, mabni with hadf nun. So it's a very technical difference. It makes no difference really, but that's what it is. So ajmil, so fi'l amr ta'ajjub, you say him mabniyun ala sukun. And what we've done in our book, or the very easy way of saying it is what? You say majzoom bi sukun. That's also one way of doing it, but it's not used in the books. People don't use this. They don't call it majzoom. If you say that, they probably think you're wrong. Yes, they don't know there's two opinions, but that's very easy to go by, and students have that thing. Why is he calling it mabni? But this is what the grammarians have gone with. So you say mabni ala sukun, the fi'l amr. But majzoom, it can also be used. Okay? So ajmil is the fi'l amr. And what do you have here now? This anta is going to be what? Anta is going to be damirun mustatir, marfu'un mahallan. Then this ba is going to be harfu sila. Now, what do you mean by harfu sila? So harfu sila is one name for it. Another name is harfun zaid. Okay, this is a more common. So harfun zaid. This is more common. This is more common. And some say it's more respectful. Because zaid means extra, excess. So it's not like extra that, okay, we don't need it. Sila means it's there for joining purposes and it has a meaning. So it gives a meaning, and the meaning we will do all that in balagha, inshallah. But for now, let's say harfu sila, meaning it doesn't affect the function of the word after it. It affects the i'rab, but it affects the function. So for example, let me give you an example of how. So for example, the one we done in, let's say ma. So when we done ma, we say, for example, we say ma zaydun qa'iman. Okay? We'll do this more in the next fasl, in harfun jar. But for now, ma zaydun qa'iman. What do we learn in Nahw? What can we say? We could add on to the khabar. We could add what on the khabar? Ma zaydun. What? We can add ba. Ma zaydun biqa'imin. Now what does this do? This creates emphasis. It's more emphatic. It's like more stronger. So we call this ba harfu sila or harfun zaid. Why do you call it harfun zaid? Meaning that if we take it out, the meaning will slightly change. You will have a slightly less emphasis. However, the function of this being khabar, it still remains khabar. It doesn't affect the function of this. It's still a khabar. So i'rab wise, it's majroor. But now what happens now? It's majroor because of the ba. But the function is still khabar. This ba, this is a specific ba harfun jar, it doesn't make it like shibhul jumla becomes a maf'ul bihi. This ba, it is there for emphasis, and the qa'iman will become majroor because of the ba, but it will still remain the khabar. It will not have a new function. Are you following me? And this is already discussed in our Arabic book. If you want to look at it, so if you want to look it up, it comes on page, let me get the page number right, page 282 in our first steps to understanding Arabic. And if not, it's going to come up again in harfun jar discussion in a few pages time. So for now, remember this, that when you have a harfu sila, harfun jar zaid, it means that harfun jar comes to create emphasis, and it doesn't change the grammatical function of the word after. The word after is still the khabar. As opposed to normal harfun jar. Normal harfun jar is jar majrur shibul jumla maf'ulun bihi. Jar majrur shibul jumla maf'ulun fi. But in this harfun jar, harfu sila, it doesn't change the word after. If you take it out, it will still be khabar. And that's how it's slightly different. So now, this ba is harfu sila, or harfun jar zaid. And the word after it, the Quran, you see here? No. Okay. And then the Quran is majroor. But the function is maf'ul bihi. As I told you before, the same way in ma zaydun biqa'imin, the ba makes it majroor, doesn't it? But what's the function of the qa'im? The function of qa'im is khabar. So even though it becomes majroor, the function is still a khabar. So even here, this ba is harfu sila, correct? It's za'id, it's there to create emphasis, or it has a particular function. So it will make the Quran majroor, but the function of Quran will still remain as maf'ulun bihi. So it's saying by saying ajmilil Qur'ana, correct? But so basically it's really ajmilil Qur'ana, and this ba creates a ta'ajjub meaning. That's where the ta'ajjub comes about. So, and because it's maf'ul bihi, we will say this word now has mansoob mahallan. So the slot is a maf'ul bihi. A maf'ul bihi is what? What's a maf'ul bihi? Mansoob. So in terms of the slot, mahal means the slot. So because this is becoming the maf'ul bihi, what slot is it going to become? What's the maf'ul bihi slot? Marfu, mansoob, or majroor? It's mansoob. So because the maf'ul bihi slot is mansoob, you will say mahallan is mansoob. The slot of this is mansoob. However, the word, what word is it? The word, what can you see? The wording is what? Marfu, mansoob, or majroor? Majroor. So majroorun bil kasrati lafdhan. Similarly, like example here. In here, qa'imin has, because of the ba harfun jar, what does it do now? It has an i'rab. So mahallan, what's this? Qa'imin in this example. This is what? It is mansoob mahallan. Why? Because the khabar of ma, the ism is marfu, the khabar is mansoob. So it's going to be mansoob mahallan. And in terms of the wording, what's it going to be? In terms of wording, it's going to be what? Majroorun bil kasrati wa lafdhan. Okay, this is a brief introduction to the harfun jar zaid. We will focus on it a lot more in the upcoming chapters when we discuss the harfun jar. But for now, that's how you do the i'rab of it. So keep a note of it. If you want more information, for now you can look in our Arabic book to page 282, or you can just keep a note, keep it on mental pause if you're still struggling, and it'll come in the harfun jar at the end. So this is how you do the i'rab of these two صيغتا of ta'ajjub. So in both of them, you have in ajmala, they're both bab if'al. One is a madhi and one is a mudari. And in both cases, the word after is a maf'ulun bihi. However, in this one, ajmil bil Quran, the ba is harfun jar, harfu sila, harfun jar, and the word after is lafdhan is majroor, but the slot still remains maf'ulun bihi. Are you following me? You understood? Any questions regarding this? سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك